And welcome to another edition of By the Railside Podcast Movie Review. With us this week, we have Justin,
Hello.
Jordan,
I'm a train.
and myself. I'm Zach. Jeff may or may not show up. His internet's being all kinds of fucky, so we'll have to see on that. This week, we reviewed Cloud Atlas. Jordan, do you have the description of the movie?
I do, but I don't know. Okay, so everything is connected. An 1849 diary of an ocean voyage across the Pacific. Letters from a composer to his lover. A thriller about a conspiracy at a nuclear power plant. A farce about a publisher and a nursing home. A rebellious clone in a futuristic Korea. And the tale of a tribe living on a post-apocalyptic Hawaii far in the future. By Anonymous. This is a story of... Actually, this is like 6 different stories that are being told simultaneously. So if you have ADHD or ADD or are just a regular human being, it is very hard to follow.
What did you think of it, Justin?
I love this movie. The first time I watched it, I was stoned, I'm pretty sure, so I wasn't too sure if I would like it watching it sober, but I still cry at the end of this movie, so I really like it. Any movie that can like evoke that kind of emotion out of me, I generally like. But yeah, I mean, it's basically like the stories that it's telling are basically just saying that the choices you make can have lasting consequences for the future. Yeah, so basically, like, probably the easiest one to identify is Tom Hanks' character, because his inner demons are like actually manifest in when he's in his tribal era, with the weird little like Mad Hatter character,
The hairy fingernails.
yeah. But basically, just like when he chooses to be courageous instead of conniving and thieving like he is in his other past selves, he ends up with the happy ending, right? So, and I mean, pretty much all of the characters have some kind of growth or something that they go through, and that's just kind of it is a very scattered story, but it's more of about the emotion of the scenes rather than like the story themselves are telling. Like, the old people escaping the old folks home doesn't really amount to anything, but it's more about how it makes you feel. So, or at least that's how I interpret it.
Yeah, the section with the old folks home is kind of, it's almost crazy. Like it seems like a prank, but then it was because of like actual, like, the reason why he ended up there, and the guy was like tricked him into doing it. I'm guessing is because he slept with his wife or whatever.
Yeah, that was his brother, and obviously that dude has just been shithead most of his life. And then he finally that one's kind of weird, but basically he learned to to help out those around him and not just think for himself. But
Yeah, I was honestly expecting him to just like drive off when the
yeah,
I know guy like popped out at the end. It's just like, nah,
yeah,
he don't know.
The different roles that each actor actually took, like, um, Hugo Weaving for the most part, like played strictly villainous type characters throughout, but
yeah.
I guess the transformation that they went makeup wise on some of them was just crazy.
Yeah, the set design and the special effects on this are fucking awesome. Like, they could have just used different characters and like gave them hints, like with the tattoo, that they're the same person and stuff like that. But um, instead, they were just like, no, we're just gonna. I mean, they steer clear to blackface, but they basically they're like, we're gonna make this Asian lady white, and we're gonna make these Asian guys or these white people Asian, and we're just gonna fucking go all out. It definitely like toes a line, but I think it does have a cool effect because they pulled it off well, in my opinion.
Yeah, like the some of it makes sense. Like I think the future one where like they made the white people look Asian, it kind of made sense.
The pure bloods.
Yeah, which that didn't make sense to me. Like these are the pure bloods, but
Be-
the woman
it-
who is like from that is Asian is the clone.
Well, what it was is that they have slaves that are like hybrids, like so that they're like docile and stuff like that. They're not supposed to be like full humans, or at least that's what they tell everyone.
Yeah, and then it turns out that they are food and they are fed to themselves. Once
Yeah.
they ascend, I can't remember if it was like 12 days or 12 months, like however long, but after they get 12 stamps on their boom boom collar, then they get to ascend, or so they're told. But really, what happens is they're killed like cattle and fed back to themselves. I don't know if they were also included with like the consumer meal or like the meals for consumers, or if it was just they were drinking themselves out of the soap boxes or whatever the hell that thing is.
Yeah, that that guy just drinking soap. Like, is that just like their? Is that what they called their like?
That's what the drink was called.
Yeah.
And it like knocks them the fuck out, right? So it was probably very high in drugs.
Yeah. Well, actually, that makes a lot of sense. It was probably designed to keep the clone workforce satiated and sedated slightly, so that they're not going to ask questions. But then he was like, "Well, if I drink the special juice, it make me feel good while I'm non-consensually fucking this clone and licking their feet."
Yep.
I had big issues with that.
Yeah. um. I don't know, some of the way that it was designed, like they definitely pulled it off really well, but honestly, a lot of it just looked like it was an allergic reaction. That's what some of the things seemed to me like the way they made the white people Asian, and even making Hugo Weaving that fucking nurse in the nursing home scenes. Like he definitely looks swole, but definitely from like a bee sting or something that he ate.
Well, that's what happens when you're
Miss Doubtfire, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire fucking pulled it off. Hugo Weaving was all right. If the makeup was a little bit better and it didn't look like a fucking swarm of bees landed on his crumpet before tea time,
Yeah.
I think they could have done it.
That was like the reverse of Mrs. Doubtfire. Help is not on the way, dear.
Mrs. Doubt.
Yeah.
That wasn't fire.
But overall, it was great, and even like the way they transitioned scene to scene, it flowed like nicely throughout. Like there wasn't just like a cut and then new scene. It was like these people went through this door, the door closed, and then you see on the other side, it's all of a sudden they're in the future, in the guy's village, which is kind of interesting that the future selves speak real dumb. Like we're real dumb.
I think that was only the island.
Just the island people.
Well, yeah, because when Halle Berry was like on the communicator to her captain, were they not speaking normally?
I think so.
They still had like a weird dialect, and I think that's just them interpreting a future where we like short form fucking everything to just being like just weird shit like that. Like it was just like we all just shorten and abbreviate everything. So like,
Which
why use big word when little word do trick kind of
Yeah.
thing.
which makes sense because I mean, like even today we still do it. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of words that are like, oh, that's 3 syllables. Bet you I can cut it down to 1, fucker.
Yeah.
Bruh. Although instead of oh that upset me, I don't think you should do that again. All it is bruh. I didn't like the true. Like I thought it was funny, but
Yeah.
I just didn't see that happening like in the future.
It-
Like you speak the true. I was like, no, the truth. That is way easier to say.
It sounded.
Well, see, this is the it's based off of a book, right? So, which I think I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I think they pulled off um, it feeling like a book story being read to me, like with the narration and all that stuff. Like it to me, it came off like as an audiobook, which I really like.
Yeah, it definitely had that feel, especially because you're changing basically story to story, character to character, all throughout the thing. So it's almost like when you like finish the one chapter and then you go on to the next chapter, and it's you're catching up on the previous
Yeah,
character
like
that
where
was
the
left in
characters
the
are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that, although I don't know. I was reading online that the directors had taken a slightly different approach to the storytelling itself when compared to the book. Like I think the book was um, more linear, so it was like story of like the 1860s, and then the 1912s or whatever the hell it was, and then the 70s and so forth. And then closer to the end of the book, they started to relate the stories together, as opposed to this one going from like the 1860s up to the 1960s, and you're jumping ahead again, and you're jumping back consistently. But the way they did in the movie was, I think, fantastic. It was slightly confusing for me, but I think that's just because I was having issues like paying attention. I don't know what it was. It was the audio. Maybe I just couldn't hear it properly, or maybe
Yeah.
I'm just too used to watching things with subtitles now, because pretty much everything I watch I leave the subtitles on because the goddamn furnace kicks on and I can't hear it. So I was like, what? I'm just gonna read it instead. It also didn't help that we legally purchased a copy that didn't have any
It was
English.
in Russian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Russian.
Yeah, same.
So I was gonna
Yeah,
get
I
Zach to go
mean,
back and pause the movie and then hold up a translator app and see if I could understand what they were saying. But there was only about 3 or 4 parts that
yeah, there's a few parts where they mumble, but I don't think there was anything like integral that they were saying.
It was more the parts when they were mumbling in their like in the future part. So when
Yeah.
he was already talking stupid, so I was like, I gotta pay attention to this. And then he was mumbling too, and I'm just like, for fuck's sakes, I can't hear. You're stupid. But that again, it's the struggle with legally downloads. You just
It used to be on Netflix, and then they fucking pulled it. I guess I don't know.
yeah, it's because Netflix doesn't leave anything on Canadian Netflix. That's good. They take it away after 2 weeks. Just not. At least 5 people watch this movie. No one else gets to.
yeah.
The fucking Netflix CEO was the one that was quoted saying that like the 4 hour cut was like amazing and people are gonna love it. And I looked it up, and that was back in like 2015, and then no one said anything about it since. So I guess this is fucking gone.
Yeah, maybe they probably have some sort of rights dispute, or they got to edit it or something like that. But um,
Did you guys get emotional at all at the end, or you guys didn't give a fuck?
I mean, I don't really get emotional at movies or TV shows, but I really did
Heartless
enjoy.
bastard.
Not heartless, just sad. I did enjoy the end, but I think I'd have to watch it again with subtitles, and maybe then I'd get more of a reaction out of it, because basically any time in the future with the face tattoo Tom Hanks, I couldn't understand half, if not more, of what he was saying.
yeah, because there was so much going on. I think if I watched it a few more times and actually, because I couldn't fully hear them, there was no I couldn't build that type of connection with them and the storytelling and stuff like that. But I can definitely see how the movie itself would elicit emotions, and I'm sure the book does the same thing. But
Also, I noticed, and I don't know if this was done intentionally, but like when all the people that came down, like Halle Berry's captain and all that, I the only white people were Tom Hanks and his daughter. I thought that was nice.
how the smarter race, I guess in that end scene where not smarter race,
You know?
but it's a dangerous. But yeah, like it was flipped. Like they were on top, and yeah, because there wasn't that many. Even in the village, there wasn't any. Like it was just all white people. and then the
The one Asian that was
the
dressed.
white
I mean, the
Asian
way
one.
the way I
Ginger.
interpret it is that the island people are the descendants of the what the fuck do they call them? The like clones, and that the people in the ship were the purebloods.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I guess that makes sense because I mean they did have some of the same like headdress style.
Yeah, I
Or
mean
not headdress.
it's all one timeline, right? It's not like these are different dimensions. I know it's weird because the characters are like the same characters, but it's all happening on like one timeline. It's more like what is it, Hinduism with like rebirth, like they're just being reborn into the same universe.
Yeah, it's just yeah, time and time again. I like the way they handled it. Like it wasn't a you live, you die, you're immediately reborn. Like it seemed like there was a good amount of time in between the rebirth of the
Yeah.
people. And I don't know if it was just the people with the birthmark of like the shooting star, but they focused pretty heavy on that. Like everyone that was experiencing it, apart from Hugo Weaving's characters, I don't recall seeing the birthmark on them.
No, I
Yeah,
think he
you guys
was.
were just marking like protagonists.
Oh, that could be true as well. Um, but it also might be like the good characters or like the iterations that are not complete
I
assholes.
Yeah, I think they were just marked for being like integral. Like they left a major mark on history or something like that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it could be that. Well, because I know what the first one I recall was the guy who apparently had a worm inside of him, what was actually just getting poisoned by Tom Hanks for his money.
yeah, Tom
Um,
Hanks, other than in Caveman, like in the Apocalypse time, is just like a complete dick in
Yeah,
all of his timelines.
he yoinked that dude's fucking vest.
Yeah,
that's payment for keeping the floor open, just so that guy could shoot himself.
Hey, why is it in movies that a lot of the time, like if someone's dying, like it's usually in a bathtub?
Easy cleanup. That's what we call
uh,
consideration.
like, are you talking about suicides?
No, no, like even like in general, like a lot of like sometimes. I guess it's like
There's a
a
lot of
vulnerable
blood when
spot.
you die, so convenient drains and all that.
Yeah, I guess.
That could also just be like for the movies themselves. Like we're gonna have a scene with Saw level proportions of blood. Let's put them in a bathtub so then we can just like turn a hose on and then drain it down
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, and I mean it's white, right? Like it's gonna have a nice contrast.
Yeah,
But if you
that
just
is also
like
true.
put a bunch of blood on hardwood, you're not really gonna.
You're gonna stain that hardwood. You're gonna
Yeah,
fucking ruin it. Like
and
all
you lose your deposit on the fucking
boomers.
shooting site. That's all.
That would be my concern. Let me get my money back.
You are the executive producer.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. He's gonna shoot himself in the face. That's fine. We can show anyone that. But how am I gonna get my deposit back?
um.
There was a shocking amount of uh, slurs. I guess that would be the best way to say it. Like I guess it was appropriate, like for the characters and the roles and the time that they were saying. But I honestly didn't expect that many in a movie with Tom Hanks.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, one of the major plot points of the movie is standing up against oppression, right? So
Yeah,
oppression throughout history has almost always had racism in it. So, um, and I mean, in the final one, with in Neo Soul, like they don't treat them like humans, right? Like they're just like you're literally subhuman. They label them as that so that you can desensitize yourself to fucking putting them in a blender after they've aged slightly.
Yeah. Is that like the star thing? Like it just like labeling them by year almost or by month?
yeah. I can't remember the exact time period, but I know it was after you got 12 of those stamps, then you're sent for
Ascension.
ascension is what they called it. But really,
Yeah,
it's just we're gonna skin you, we're gonna grind you up, and we're gonna feed you to yourself, well, to a clone of yourself.
yeah. My guess would be they live like 12 years or whatever, and then they're considered too old and they're not perky little teenagers, so they
That
blend them.
they're more tender after 12 years. 13 years, too tough. Can't do it.
Yeah, then you start turning into fucking Nurse Noakes.
Yeah. Also, I'm sure their
Monkey.
brain probably is fucking goo after that amount of drugs.
Oh, that is true. Maybe after, or that's like the max amount of time before the drugs in their food start to take hold of their systems. And
Yeah.
if anyone else eats it, then they're gonna get way too doped up.
Yeah, taking like fucking oxys and cannibalism every night is probably not good for the system.
I feel like cannibalism isn't a sustainable thing. I've never tried it myself.
There's like a protein or something in it that like essentially makes you get mad cow disease or something.
Yeah.
Which
I
I
guess-
guess would explain why the cannibals at the end didn't really talk. It was more just like grunting
Yeah,
and
but
gnawing.
that did show the relationship, showing that they are the like descendants of the what's the word?
Consumers?
Humanoids. Basically, like they're the ones that were going for the ascensions, because then they had no problem just like eating people, because they probably found out, hey, we were just doing it anyways. They looked very much like skinny chickens on that, like with no heads and no hands.
Yeah.
Like we just look like chickens.
Yeah, I fucking cringed when they pierced the Achilles to drag him off. Like,
Oh yeah, that was. But what a like. Wow, what the fuck's the word for it? Production line. That's a great production line.
yeah.
It's like coming in and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna ascend," and then they use that thing like on,
Any slaughterhouse with cows.
yeah, where it's just the quick little, pew,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
they're dead, and then
yeah.
get them on the hooks.
Which, I don't know that much about the human brain. Mine barely functions. But hitting them in the forehead, and you would imagine the spike is probably not very long, so I don't think that would kill them. Like, it basically like
Does-
a mini, well, not a mini, but a major lobotomy. So they're still
Well,
alive while it's happening.
it was coming from the back of the head, right?
I thought it was the forehead, because she was like, when it happened to the clone, her forehead was bleeding. Was it not? Or was it the?
I thought it
brain?
came from the back. Like, I'm just trying to remember. I wasn't really paying attention to where the wound was, but I recall it coming onto the back of her head, like from the back, right?
That's
maybe
where
I'm
the
missing
trigger
one.
was.
Which
So-
I guess it.
So maybe it went
'Cause
straight through to the front, and then
Maybe. I mean, if you spike from the back, you don't really have to go very far to hit some pretty intense stuff. So I don't
yeah.
know.
But her forehead was definitely bleeding, and
Hmm.
when she went down, but also there wasn't a lot of blood for just getting poked.
It
in
could
the
have been
head.
a spike straight down, and it was just the blood dripping from the top down, just like fucking right into the cerebellum or whatever the fuck it is, and just
Oh
fucked it.
yeah.
If you've watched this movie before and focus very much on how they kill the subhumans,
Please let us know.
yeah.
Or
Or if
if
you have
you're you work at a slaughterhouse and you know the exact point.
Well, I know in slaughterhouses, like I've seen all those, like, 'cause I want to put it.
Yeah,
with
they
some
just do through the
vegan
temple.
friends. No,
right?
no. Sometimes temple or just like right at the top of the cow's skull, they'll use the nail gun.
Yeah.
Because normally I think they're like up above, like they're on a foot high
Yeah.
platform higher, so they can actually get.
I don't know how
people.
people do that job. Like, fuck.
They
like-
desensitize themselves. It's not
Yeah.
an animal. This is just a pre-steak.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing with like in the
Some
movie, right? Like,
ribs.
you imagine like having to do all that shit, but then like you had to talk to the cow like before each one. Like, yeah, come sit down.
Yeah. Come on, we're gonna ascend. Come on, yay, yeah, we're
Yeah.
going. Yeah,
The
here's
cow
your...
comes in singing all happy, and then
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, sit down in the chair and get executed.
I'm gonna do some shopping. I'm gonna do some. Nope, you're turned into soap. You're food for other fabricants.
Wonder why they called it soap.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's probably the kind of thing that's like explained in a book where they're just like, we don't have time to explain it. It's just called that.
Oh, I
Probably stands for something and whatnot. You know.
yeah. tried to. Oh, refers to as soap. Oh, this is the Wikipedia about the novel.
Yeah, what were they called? Something starts with an S, right?
The clones, they were
Sonmi.
Yeah.
fabricants, but her name was Sonmi 451.
Hmm.
Fabricant, I think it was just like the general term for all clones, which they got treated like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's your sleeping pod. It is barely big enough to fit you. And then there's going to be some dumbass.
Read up of what they did to slaves.
Oh no, I know about that. I read that.
What do you mean? They put him on a cruise?
Oh yeah.
Easy there, Tiger.
No.
Do you want to get hate crime? That's how you get hate crime.
Yeah. No, that was. I think the description when the guy was on the black guy was the stowaway on the ship that and then he befriends the guy and actually ends up saving him from Tom Hanks. He was like he was the one that got the lashings and everything like that. He had a pretty good descriptor even like of what would happen if you're caught on these boats. Where he's just like, no,
yeah,
like, they
yeah.
were just-
I really liked when he made him face his choice because it's very easy to be like, I don't want to get involved and whatnot. It's like, but you have to realize like what that means is that you're killing me. If you don't get involved, you're killing me. So I'm gonna make you face that, and so that you can't just be like, oh, I wasn't involved. I'm not to blame. So like making him face that was I really like that.
Yeah, just removing yourself from the situation. Be like, ah,
Yeah, like
Well,
that
thanks.
doesn't make it okay.
Even by choosing to not make a choice, you've still made a choice.
Yeah, like what was the what I forget who quoted it, but like all it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to sit idle or something like that.
isn't that like, is that Winston Churchill? No. I know the quote.
Yeah, I'm not too
Sorry.
sure. I think it was around World War II era when it was said, but I don't know.
Was it evil prevails when good people do nothing?
Yeah,
Apparently,
I
that's
think
in
it
the
had.
Bible.
Oh, well, there you go. Older than that then. But yeah, that was really good. And I don't know if you guys caught it, but that slave, that's Holly Berry's dad.
Yeah, because at the end it showed like the iterations of each person.
Because you don't really see that character, I don't think, outside of that. But then you see it at the end. That's who he was.
Yeah, he only had 3 characters, so it was the slave, the Lester Ray, so Halle Berry's dad, and then he was one of the people on the ship. I think actually he was the captain of the ship at the very, very last timeline.
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
that could explain them all being black. It could all just literally be her family.
That is also true. Although she says captain, like she never really says like.
Yeah, I mean,
father,
you would
brother,
still
everything
you would still follow chain of command if you were on a ship. So, who knows?
Okay, so yeah, after the 12 markings is years. So this is after 12 years of
Yeah.
slaves. Fabricants have promised retirement to a fabricant community in Honolulu. Ooh, Hawaii.
that. Ooh,
That's how they sold them. That's why they're so pumped.
would you like to go to
Yeah.
Hawaii?
After 12
Yes.
stars, you get to go to the wonderful Hawaii. And then they're all doing their hula dances and then dead.
Get all excited. Like, I'm gonna go to a luau.
Course,
There's gonna
yeah.
be a pig roast, and then I turn into the pig roast.
Yeah. And I mean, they don't even know that like the world is fucked. Like Honolulu would be fucking non-existent in that era, right? Because they said old Seoul was underwater, and in 100 years, new Seoul would also be underwater. So there's no fucking way Hawaii is still even a thing.
Yeah.
So they're telling them about a place that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, although it might have just been like mountaintops, because in what is it, 21 something? I had it on a page that I can't find anymore. 2322. That's like the final, I guess, timeline. They were on Hawaii, but it was like a lot smaller. So I think it was just like the very tips of the mountains of Hawaii, and then everything else was just buried.
Yeah,
because
well, it
of
was like
fucking earth
10.
into the
It was like
ground.
10 something. It was in Russian, so I don't know what it was, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was like after apocalypse or whatever.
Yeah, well, so the Sonmi like 451, so the Fabricant era, that was 2144,
Yeah.
and then someone said, well, 2321 is
Well,
the post-apocalyptic,
the
so there was something that happened.
well, yeah, because Holly Berry said like they need to get off the planet because they're dying of radiation.
Yeah,
And then when they go into the old building to send the help signal, it's just like full of bodies. So I would guess there was some nukes involved.
yeah, and even when they're climbing up the mountains, like there's craters in the like the remnants of the old city that you can see that have grown over now. So I think it was like 103 years after the apocalypse had happened, which was just humans deciding that we finally hate each other enough to press that big red button.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much stuff like in the like I didn't even notice the craters in the background, but like the when in the era where they're writing the music and whatnot, like if you look in the background of the guy's mansion and shit, like there's so much like cool shit in the background and whatnot. Like they really went all out with the set design.
Yeah, it looks like. Oh wait, never mind. I thought the one guy ended up having syphilis. The guy who ends up killing himself in the bathtub.
No, I think he
But
was
that's the guy he's learning from.
He has
Yeah, yeah.
syphilis.
Yeah.
Was he even learning from him though? Like, I mean, it seemed like he knew how to play the piano, and he was just using.
he
it
knew
for
what
some-
he was doing. He was just he was like he was thrown out of his family for being gay. So then he went off to make it on his own, and he couldn't. You can't just like he didn't have any connections to be a composer. So he basically his plan was to leech off of this famous guy because he knew he was skilled, so that he would impress him, and then he can help him. But the famous guy gets all the credit for it until eventually he's able to make it on his own. And then that's when he comes up with the Cloud Atlas, whatever it was, sex something.
Sextant, I think.
And but then that's when he gets into the squabble where he wants to just steal it. And when he said like this is mine, like that's when he's like, well, I'll tell everyone you're gay, because he tried to like fucking kiss him or whatever. And then he shoots him.
Yeah, I think he might have baited him, because he does say at one point, I think during that interaction, he's like, "You think I wouldn't like look up someone that's working for me? You think I
Yeah.
wouldn't look up your past?" And then he found out about his family and probably why he got kicked out.
Yeah, I mean, similar to Tom Hanks, like his character was a shithead in pretty much all of his eras as well. Like other than like his redemption on the last one after the breakout.
True. Although even in the last one, he was still pretty much a shithead. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
although if cannibals were coming after me and I had the chance to hide behind a rock and let someone else get eated, I'd probably do it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, those cannibals are fucking juiced.
Yeah,
Like
except
they were.
at the end when apparently Tom Hanks, while carrying his daughter, was outrunning dudes on horses.
It's his niece.
Whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely like obviously people get hurt in this movie, but like fucking every antagonist is a fucking stormtrooper.
Yeah. Also,
Like,
that
they just shoot entire like fucking rounds and just or clips of the Magnum and just like never hit anything.
the button that lasted from the 1800s to 2300. That's good. That's good craftsmanship.
What button?
So at the beginning of the final timeline, or the final like the 2300, Tom Hanks like takes that little
Oh,
blue
the
gem.
like opal button.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know
And
what
that
you're
was one of the
talking
buttons off of the guy. Fuck, what's his name?
Yeah, I mean it's a rock wrapped in gold, so theoretically, if it wasn't like crushed, then it should be fine.
Yeah, that button made it through the whole movie. That was another character. That it started out right at the beginning. Tom Hanks yoinked it from that dude.
Yeah, he cut it off, and he
Yeah.
didn't fucking notice. Like, where'd one of my buttons go? Well, only he's been in my room because he's a quote unquote doctor who
Yeah.
was fucking selling teeth that he found on a beach.
Also, Also, he
Yeah,
was like,
yeah. There was definitely enough red flags. That guy was just.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a slaver, right? So he probably didn't really give a shit.
Yeah, that's
he was
true.
just like pocketing everything he was taking off. The guy's like, no, we got to cut this ring off. You're swelling. Here, I know a guy. Don't worry. Here, I'll just keep that for now.
Yeah,
Bro,
back
my
then,
jewelry.
It must have been so hard to fucking trust anyone back then. Like just when there was no law and order at all, it was just like you fucking go out alone with someone that you think is okay, and then they weren't, and they just fucking off you, and you're like, well, I literally
Unlucky.
can't do anything.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna sit there and bleed out. Unless
Yeah,
you
I
get
mean that's why
saved by a
handshake
slave.
became a thing. Like we would grab each other's wrists to check for fucking knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think well that's why we shake with our right hands. Was like most people are right hand dominant, so that's where you had your weapon. So it's like left hand still got my shield. I'm gonna protect myself, but right hand you got to push your weapon down to shake my hand.
I don't, bitch. Get fucked.
And that's when assassins came in and were like, "Just kidding, I have a secret fucking blade on me."
Well,
Is
people
that
who
why
are
people don't like
left-handed-
left-handed? Is that why my people are ostracized for being
You're a
left-handed?
lefty?
We were all assassinis.
No, it's because you were different.
We don't like difference.
Yeah, different didn't go over well throughout history.
It still doesn't really go over
Fuck
well.
you, right-handed people.
Shut up, normies.
This is the new Civil War. Just the righties versus the lefties. Everyone's gonna die because, or either no one's gonna die or everyone's gonna die because either everyone's gonna have the right shields, so you can't stab, or no shields, and then everyone's gonna get stabbed.
But what happens when we go to like Dune era, where your whole body's a shield?
Wait a minute. You know what? Actually, I take that back because the righties are definitely gonna win. Because any plans that the lefties write down, you're just gonna smudge it.
Yeah,
All right, dude, that hurts.
that was too personal. You can't say that.
You don't know how many tests I failed because of this.
Well, I mean, okay.
No,
there's
you
a-
don't even. I don't even give a shit about it being smudged. The biggest struggle was
crippling.
lifting up your arm and realizing it was either fucking gray or blue. Like it would just be on your fucking like all up your arm and up your hand. It's actually the worst.
One benefit is like like the novelty mugs. They're all generally everything so that if you're holding it with your right hand, the decals on the left. But if you're a left-handed person, you always get to enjoy it right away.
Yeah.
Unless you get one of those mugs that just has UNT on it, and you're like, "Fucking stop calling me that! I'm not a cunt. I just want to drink tea."
What else can we talk about in this movie? They saved a decent chunk of money. I bet you the price would have been higher if they actually hired all those extra actors. Instead, they just had everyone play everyone.
No, I prefer when they made the Asian woman a ginger white person, and also Halle Berry a ginger white person.
That all looked real off-putting.
I think it would have been better with better contacts because they both put in like bright ass green contacts for them, which just even a ginger person, straight up born ginger, I don't think their eyes would be that vivid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously it's gonna look kind of uncanny valley no matter how you do it because you're like with monster makeup, like you could change like the face structure by just like adding on, but they couldn't like make their heads bigger to like change the proportions, right? So they just had to like take away things like skin tone and like their eye shape and stuff like that. So it's always gonna look weird, but I mean, I think the actors did a good job of like being all of those different parts, right?
Yeah, the one that I had like a somewhat issue with was when the Asian actor, I can't remember her name, when she was playing Bae Duna was the Mexican woman, which is literally the character name according to IMDb, Mexican woman.
Yeah, she definitely did not come off as Latin.
Yeah,
I was just like, okay.
Although, like, when she just, like, beat the shit out of an assassin, that was having absolutely no trouble with anyone else. And then she just comes up behind him and just beats the fuck out of him for calling her a racial slur.
Well, he also shot her dog, so.
Yeah, but she didn't mention that at all.
She might have.
I think she was speaking
understand
Spanish, so. But
Porque
yeah, I
un
didn't even get that she was supposed to be Spanish until he said the slur, and I was like, oh, All right.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit when Halle Berry like started speaking Spanish to her, and I was like, "Is this not like a sweatshop?" Which I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
it was a
I
sweatshop.
don't
He
know.
was
It was
making
weird because
peeps.
like it
Mexican
was weird.
peeps.
Like I think they were just it was just another like form of oppression that they were trying to show, which I get. It was just like it was weird that they did that, but then also it had themes to the fast food place, like with the things they were making like little weird yellow eggs and stuff like that, which was from the future thing. So it seemed like it should have been like an Asian sweatshop rather than a Spanish one, but whatever.
Yeah,
Doesn't really
well,
matter.
I think at that time, like the time period, it was a little bit more accurate. Like they,
I guess it's because they're in America. That's why they probably did it that way.
yeah, like if they were running through like quote unquote Chinatown, then absolutely. But
Yeah.
that would have had they would have upped the budget because then they would have to film at Chinatown.
I liked how, in order to avoid inspection of the site, she just starts saying no English, no English. like an inspector should be like, oh fuck, no English. Okay,
Did she say no
I'll go to
English? I thought she said no slurs.
No, I'm pretty sure she said no English when
Okay.
when Tom or not Tom Hanks, but Halle Berry and the other guy ran in.
Yeah, I like the first
Pete
time she
David.
said it, I could have swore. That's why I was like, you cannot say that because I thought she said no slurs,
Oh,
and then then like Halle Berry started speaking Spanish,
oh
and
no.
but it was in Russian, so I didn't
Yeah, I
understand.
mean, I you could be right. I mean, for the time period, it wouldn't have been uncommon. So
Just everybody's a racist.
I mean, historically, yes. That's
Yeah.
why it's important to call it out.
Also, if you watch it again, look out for when she starts hitting Hugo Weaving. ¿Por qué le disparaste a mi perro? That means why did you shoot my dog? Perro is dog, I think.
Okay. Although it definitely added in, I think with that one in particular, same with Jim Broadbent's description of how he um, lost his virginity in the um, old folks storyline. Like those little comedic moments helped break up a little bit of the story. Like a lot of it, it's definitely, it's needed regardless of the seriousness of the movies, even if it's like horror, or if it's a thriller, drama, anything like that. You need that comedic value. There's just so much. Like in this one, like you said, it didn't have as much an emotional effect on us as it did you, Justin. But could you imagine just like 3 hours of just that, not sad, but just all negative emotions, I guess.
Well, I don't think it's always needed. It is nice to like lighten the mood of the film, but it depends on the topic. Like this one, it wasn't as serious, but oh fuck, I can't remember the movie. It was the one about the movie about child soldiers in Africa. That one had absolutely zero.
Oh, and the Netflix one.
Yeah,
Oh fuck.
because that one, it was like that one was just on hardcore in your face the entire movie, uh, and I thought they did a fantastic job on that one. I fucking can't remember what it's called though.
It's got an interesting
Blood
one.
Diamond? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
No.
it was a more recent one. I think it came out over the past 5 years. But it literally it followed like one specific child soldier throughout it all, and then near the end he was, I guess they put him in a like a group home for people that were affected by the war, so like the people that had their parents killed, and he was like talking to a counselor, and he at the end like when he finally opens up to the counselor, he's like, "You're like a baby to me. I look in your eyes and I see someone young, someone who hasn't seen the horrors that I've seen," because he like literally watched one of his friends get killed in front of him, and then I'm pretty sure he also got raped by Idris Elba after
Yeah.
he had like snorted gunpowder.
Beasts of No Nation.
That's it, Beast of No Nation. Check that out. It's a very good movie. Although, like I said, there is no comedy in it. There's nothing breaking up the seriousness of the movie. So, load up a couple YouTube videos of cats falling off couches afterwards if you want to like calm down.
Yeah, I mean, I think movies like that are important too, to remind people that the world sucks, and should do what you can to try to fix it when you can. But
It's not all sunshine and lollipops, and
yeah,
children shouldn't have
yeah, this
babies.
movie, although I think I think the action parts of this movie are the part I like the least, just because other than the very last sequence, there is no consequences to the main characters at all. Like they just run around, guns blazing everywhere, and like nothing ever happens. But it does have, I mean, I guess technically when the prophet is like doing her speech, like all of those rebels like die horribly, but like you don't feel that really much. It's like very in the distant.
Yeah, because they didn't really do much on the
But like when
rebellion.
he's like doing his action sequences and shit, like there's a few of those where you're just like, oh, we're in an action movie now. So it definitely, I get what you mean. Like they break it up a little bit.
Yeah, like I guess actually, sorry, that just reminded me. I was going to talk about when the oh god, what do they call them? The fabricant and the other dude, like when they were at the apartment getting chased by the shitty shot cops. Um, she mentioned that his heart was beating slower than theirs. So are they like just rapidly aging? Maybe that's why they only have the 12 years.
Could be. But yeah, I obviously their metabolism would be weird if they were only like they're modified humans and they're also being sustained by like one weird human smoothie a day. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what No Name Soap is.
No name soap is just other humans. Oh, and they made a joke. Well, not really a joke, but they were linking it back when they said when the old guy was first trying to escape after his brother quote unquote pranked him by locking him in an asylum. When he was like, Soylent is people, Soylent is people.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely reference that. I mean, soap is originally was I don't know how they make it nowadays, but originally it was just like fat. So
We learned
Yeah.
that in Fight Club.
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, maybe that's why everyone was getting so upset when the kids started eating Tide Pods. They're like, no, don't go down this road.
yeah.
We've been down this road. Also, they're fucking morons.
I would
Who would-
just keep letting them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
What's the current version of that? Like putting Gorilla Glue in your hair or something?
Oh
Yeah,
no,
using-
that broad was just.
No,
I think it's not wearing a mask, to be honest.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's been like copycat people of that lady. Like she fucked up, and like obviously it was bad for her. But like, there's been a whole bunch of people trying to like get famous as well by doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of them I think are doing it under the guise of like, oh, I think that's bullshit. I know of at least three. I read 3 stories about people doing that because they didn't believe that she did that or that it would be that bad. So
Yeah.
they were like, I'm gonna do it too just to test it out. What are you
Why?
fucking dumb?
Yeah. Like there's a reason why it's fucking glue. Like
Yeah, see when I was curious about how strong like super glue was that I was using it, like it something I was using, like I got a little bit on my finger and like stuck 2 of my fingers together, and I was like, ow, that's painful to pull apart. Make sure to not get that on anything important in the future. But they were just like, fuck that test, dump it on my head.
well, it's also she ended up raising like fucking 20 grand on a GoFundMe. It was just like she kept it going. So originally she started it to help pay for the procedure in order to get her fucking hair unglued.
Yeah.
And then the guy ended up like a doctor ended up like okay, like he just did it for free. And then she just kept the GoFundMe going, and she ended up getting like 20 grand just for just people just donating to her stupidity.
I mean,
Although, 2 days
I
ago,
get what you're saying, but you have to remember that America is a desolate wasteland currently. Like,
yeah,
people are currently dying of hypothermia because corporations are hiking up the price of electricity just to be greedy fucks. So I mean,
we don't want to deal with.
I
federal
I don't
regulations.
blame her for keeping that money at all, because there is zero safety nets, and it is fucking their country is run by vicious raptors that don't give a fuck.
Capitalism at its finest. She is under investigation, though. There was a news story about 2 days ago that she can't access any of that money, which, I mean, it does make sense because if the doctor did it for free and the whole purpose of the GoFundMe was to raise money so you can get this surgery, give it back to the people. Especially in a pandemic, I'm sure a lot of these people probably couldn't really afford to give too much, and whatever money they did, they could definitely use.
Yeah.
Because they were like, yeah, we're going to give you $2,000 at the start of the pandemic. And then they waited about a year, and people were like, hey, can we like have a little bit more money, please? Like, you fucking kidding me? We gave you $2,000 8 months ago. What do you can't live off that anymore?
They haven't even gotten that money. I think they've gotten $600 total.
That's it? I thought it was around
No, they've been him and Han about. First, they said when Biden was going to get elected, they said they were going to give him $2,000 a month. They've been dicking around that whole time. They're like, well, we'll do $1,400, so it totals $2,000. But again, that is a one-time payment.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even understand. Like, I don't know.
And even still, with when they first got the payments in, I know like a bunch of businesses were doing sales. So right after you got your stimulus check, Walmart had smart TVs on, $5.99,
and they also had guns for the exact price of your stimulus check as well.
Which, I mean, hey, a lot of people are gonna be like, well, that's just business. It's like, no, that is corporations taking advantage of stupid fucking people.
And don't forget, they also get bajillions of dollars in corporate bailouts that they hide away in their offshore bank accounts and then beg for more because they say they don't have any money.
Like what? I think Bell did that actually. Like they took a giant bailout from the Canadian government and then gave the money to their stockholders and fucking fired a bunch of people.
Oh yes.
Because we didn't have the money to keep you on. Sorry about that.
Which is insane to the fucking prices we gotta pay for stupid shit.
I say eat the rich, start a field, grow your own food, get some solar panels, live off grid, and buy as many weapons as you can while you can.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that there hasn't been like violent insurrection yet. Like,
I think in Canada especially because the gun laws are so strict. Like,
well, I just mean in the States, like the idea of capitalism is that you keep everyone so like you just give them dumb shit so that they're just so you either work them to the bone so they don't have the energy to fight back, or you keep them fucking pacified with Netflix and McDonald's and shit.
Yeah.
But like America's getting to the point where they can't even afford to like exist. So the next thing should be that, but like I'm surprised they haven't yet. It's actually crazy to me.
The way they're doing it, I think, is pretty genius because instead of like the government is convincing people like, hey, it's not the big corporations, it's not us that wants this, it's the other guy.
It's the minorities.
It's the minorities or the libtards. And so people are like, whoa, I gotta fight the libtards. Like, no, the libtards, quote unquote, are the people that want to fight the corporations, and they know it. So they're like, well, we're just gonna get all the gun-toting rednecks to. They want your jobs, they want your land, they want your guns. When in reality, they just want to be able to fucking eat and afford rent at the same time.
Yeah, and be gay if they want to, but that's.
Let's not go too far.
Yeah, relax.
Yeah, exactly.
One issue at a time. Yeah. You get a Snickers bar, or you get to express your sexuality openly. Yeah. Don't be greedy.
Yeah.
That was a joke. Please don't take that seriously.
Yeah. But that is actual conservative thought process.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I think they should institute since they have a minimum age for government, they should have a maximum age for government.
Oh yes.
Because at a
nepotism is also really bad.
Yeah, at a certain point, like people aren't changing with the times.
Like, they still have silent generation senators? That's before the boomers.
Jesus Christ. Fucking get them out of there. I'd say
I think there is one millennial senator, I think.
Is that the guy that got caught using his campaign funds to buy Steam games and he got a $1,500 fine for vaping?
I don't know. I saw a list of like the age groups though, and it was like 80 something silent generation, almost 300 boomers, and then so on. This is like, what the fuck?
I think you actually need like to prove, not like
you shouldn't be able to make
like you should be able to show like you're making decisions for the greater good, not for like based strictly on like the ideals that are written down for your thing. So like if you identify like you're a conservative, like it shouldn't be just like okay, conservatives have to do this, 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 and this. It's like no, no, no. What's good for the people as a whole? Not
Yeah.
because that's what bothers me. Like it shouldn't be a two-party system. It should just be like have the debates. Be like okay, this is why do you think that people are shouldn't have the $2,000 a month? Okay, well how about this? And then counter it. And then when someone gets a counter and they actually listen, then they're just like, oh okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. And then they change their idea after receiving new information.
Can't do that. That shows weakness. Don't fuck around.
One of the major issues is that most of them aren't actually making decisions based on what they believe at all.
It's about what
it's
who's
just
giving
the
them money.
corporate donors, but corporations have the same rights as people. So,
Which I think is fucking stupid.
oh yeah. But anyways, we should do what they do in this movie and kill them.
I agree. Also, if you're listening and you're in Canada, sign the petition for Bill C-21, which changes a lot of definitions for gun laws, so that paintball, airsoft, and I'm assuming Nerf guns would even be under that as a prohibited item, because anything that is made to be a replica exactly or with near precision to a weapon that shoots bullets, projectiles, or anything other than that at greater than 500 feet per second or 5.7 joule muzzle velocity will be prohibited. So I could go out and buy a nail gun that shoots over 500 feet per second, but I can't buy a replica nail gun that shoots BBs because that's prohibited.
Gun laws are so weird because your chances of hurting yourself or someone in your household when you put a gun in your house goes up like a bajillion%. So I kind of have issues with like freely available guns. I understand the argument of fighting your oppressors, but I don't know. Historically, like I don't think that really works nowadays.
Yeah, not really. Like I agree with the gun laws. To be honest, I think they're the way they are is fine, but the changes that they want to do and the changes that they announce to other things, like right after that, they want to make the gun laws stricter, under the guise of public safety. But at the same time, 2 days later, they announced that they're lowering all the mandatory minimums for jail sentences for any weapons. So it seemed
sure. Those sound like two separate things to me. I would have to look at the specifics. Jail does not rehabilitate people.
Oh, absolutely.
At least not in our current iteration of it. So I'm not really for any extended jail times at all. Anyways, but I mean, you just look at the facts and like when unstable people have easy access to weapons, a lot of people die. So. Until we as a human race get our mental health shit figured out, which we are significantly behind on and spiraling into despair, I don't think everyone having weapons is a good idea. And I think the only way we would actually overthrow a government is if we had the support of the military anyways. So that's more of a political thing, because what good is it even if you do have handguns when the government has tanks and drones and like you can't fight that shit. Like,
no. I wasn't saying that I want people to have more weapons. I was more concerned with like the recreational activities that involve replicas like airsoft, paintball, Nerf, all that shit. That's what
I would have to look at the
targeting.
bill you're talking about. I don't know. That does seem weird.
If
they're trying to like ban paintball players, I think it seems weird.
Yeah, they're not specifically banning the players. But
I don't like there are pellet guns that are like they pump them up to like just under legal. I think those are kind of shenanigans because like I had one of those as a kid. Not that I went out and got it, but like the one I got was like crazy high powered and it's like essentially a 22. Like I don't think 12-year-olds should be able to have those.
Oh yeah, no. I think there should be mandatory minimum age Like right now, I know for airsoft stuff, you have to be 18 plus years old just to buy it and own it. But and there's like mandatory minimums on fields, and there is FPS limits, which makes 100% sense. Like you don't want someone that's blasting 1,000 feet per second. That's gonna fucking hurt. But 300 ish, it'll sting, but it's not gonna do permanent damage. But I think they should teach gun safety in school. Like have that mandatory in high school so that you have an awareness of what these weapons are. You know how to handle them. You know the processes of, like, if you find one, obviously don't fucking pick it up, but call the cops right away. Like just have some form of information that people either have to take or have readily available, so that you don't have to worry about a kid finding a pistol on the ground and not realizing that it's a real one and fucking blowing one of his friends away. Which I don't know if it happens in Canada, because we have really strict gun laws, which makes sense.
Yeah, I read a story the other day about a fucking mom had a gun in her purse or something like that, and her toddler got a hold of it and killed her.
Yeah, which I mean, hey, just desserts, right? But this bill, I think, is just kind of shenanigans. Like it's purely aimed at recreational sports, because it only changes certain definitions, and it also gives the cops the power to, if they see you with like an airsoft gun or a paintball gun or a gun that is a replica meant to be exactly like or with near position to a real firearm, they can take it immediately, and then you have 2 weeks to produce a license, which doesn't exist.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty shenanigans. Like there's a lot of videos online about it, and it's not good for, I think, like the smaller businesses, like the airsoft fields, paintball fields, airsoft and paintball stores. They're just sort of fucked, if this bill goes through, because like that's their livelihood. And even some YouTubers and stuff like that and content creators, they're fucked already with COVID because you can't play. But I think I've talked about that enough. Let's go back to the movie.
All right, I think we just have ratings now.
Yeah, I think we're about that time.
So I'm gonna give it. I'll give it a solid 8. It'll probably be higher if I watch it more, just because I'll be able to pay attention. Maybe either toss on subtitles or watch it with like my headset on or something like that on my computer, so I actually hear what the fuck's happening in certain scenes. But transitions were well. Set was done well. Actors were amazing in it, especially having to adapt and change based on the character in the scene. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, like I said, I love this movie. I would say like an 8.5 or a 9. Some of the weakest parts were like just the action scenes and stuff like that. But other than that, I really like it.
I'm also going to give it an 8. I do want to watch it again with subtitles on, just because I find that easier to focus on the entirety of the movie. But yeah, like the visual effects of it were fantastic. The actors themselves fucking killed it. Like there was one character I was kind of fighting with Zach. I believe it was the old syphilis composer's wife, was Halle Berry, and I didn't realize until like fairly late in the film.
Yeah,
I think it was about an hour in, something like that, because maybe had to pause and I had time to look it up. But yeah, all of them I thought killed it. Some of the messages are like, they still ring true even today, which, stop being racist, people. It's 2021. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Why the fuck is someone's skin color relevant? Do they have a mask off or on? Good. They're good people. If not, kick them in the balls.
well, it depends on how high the mask goes. Like if it's like all the way to hood and it's white, probably not good.
Yeah, that's not a good mask. Kick them in the balls too. But generally they have eye holes cut out, and
Yeah.
it's not flush against their face. It's just sort of hanging over it.
What movie was that off? Or They had it on. The guy's just like, I can't see a fucking thing in this.
Django Unchained.
Have you guys seen the Black Klansman?
I've not watched that one yet.
You should watch it. It's good.
I think it's like I don't think I've seen all of it, but I think I started it. But
Got
anyways,
Adam Driver. He's good.
Yeah.
anyways, we have a 8.3 repeating for this movie, so that's a fantastic review. And once Jeff gives us his number, which I'm assuming he's going to be a 5 or a 6 because it's Jeff.
Hatred of all things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that not a 20-minute video? Get fucked.
So the next movie that we'll be reviewing next week is called The Endless. I don't know exactly what it's about. And then we got one more after that, and that's going to be The Lobster. And then we move on to our next topic, which we'll reveal next week. We'll give you guys a little insight on what we're going to be reviewing, which style of movie. If you guys got any comments or anything like that for us, please send us a tweet at by Railside, or leave us comments in the comment section below on YouTube where it's posted, and follow us on Spotify as well.
And tell me if you think I sound cute.
Yeah, he wants to know. He needs to know.
If
He
you
has permanent brain damage from all the weeb shit he reads, so he
It's-
can only watch movies with subtitles on
it's
now.
pronounced
So-
permanent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Also, Bagel. Last thing
Fuck
you guys.
off! It's not bagel.
Hey, do you guys ever have an accident that was caused by pussy? Because the character did.
My fucking life.